Have you ever met someone who seems different, not louder, not more confident, not trying to prove anything, but when they speak, the entire room listens. They notice things others completely miss. They ask questions nobody else even thinks about. And sometimes they seem strangely disconnected from the world around them. Highly intelligent people are not always the ones with the highest grades. They are not always the most successful. And many of them actually feel misunderstood by society. Psychologists have discovered that people with extremely high intelligence often share a set of unusual psychological patterns. Some of these patterns give them incredible advantages. Others make life surprisingly difficult. In this video, we'll explore the hidden psychology of extremely high IQ individuals. And by the end, you might recognize some of these traits in yourself. The first psychological pattern, constant curiosity. One of the strongest indicators of very high intelligence is an unstoppable sense of curiosity. Most people accept the world as it is, but highly intelligent individuals constantly ask, why? Why do people behave the way they do? Why are systems built the way they are? Why does society follow certain rules? Their minds are not satisfied with simple answers. They want to understand the deeper mechanics behind everything. This curiosity often starts in childhood, while others are memorizing information. High IQ thinkers are already questioning it, and this mindset stays with them throughout their lives. Curiosity becomes their engine. It drives them to learn faster, explore deeper, and constantly challenge their own beliefs. They see patterns others miss. Another powerful trait of extremely intelligent people is pattern recognition. Their brains are naturally wired to detect connections between ideas. Where others see random information, they see structure. Where others see coincidence, they see patterns. This is why many highly intelligent individuals excel in fields like science, technology, psychology, and strategy. They are able to connect pieces of information in ways that most people cannot. But this ability also changes how they experience everyday life, because once you start seeing patterns everywhere, it becomes impossible to ignore them. Overthinking is almost constant. There is a hidden downside to having a powerful mind. Highly intelligent people tend to think constantly. Their brain rarely slows down. While others relax and move on from problems, their mind continues analyzing every possibility. They replay conversations, they analyze decisions, they imagine multiple outcomes at the same time. Psychologists often describe this as cognitive overactivity. And while it can lead to brilliant ideas, it can also lead to anxiety and mental exhaustion. For someone with an extremely active mind, silence can sometimes feel louder than noise. They often feel different from others. Many people with very high intelligence experience a subtle sense of isolation, not because they want to feel separate from others, but because their way of thinking is often different from the people around them. They may process information faster. They may question assumptions others accept. And sometimes they struggle to find conversations that truly stimulate their mind. This doesn't mean they believe they are better than others. In fact, many highly intelligent people feel the opposite. They often hide their abilities because they don't want to appear arrogant or intimidating. Deep thinking becomes a habit. Extremely intelligent individuals often spend large amounts of time reflecting. They analyze their own behavior, they question their motivations, they constantly refine their ideas about the world. This habit of deep thinking leads to powerful insights, but it can also create internal conflict. Because the more deeply you analyze life, the more complicated it begins to look. Simple answers rarely satisfy a highly analytical mind. They value meaning over status. Many people chase external success, money, recognition, social approval, but highly intelligent individuals are often motivated by something different, meaning they want their work to matter. They want to understand the world. They want to solve problems that challenge their abilities. This is why many high IQ individuals choose paths that may seem unconventional to others. They are less interested in impressing people and more interested in understanding reality. They are often highly self-aware. Another fascinating psychological trait is heightened self-awareness. Highly intelligent individuals frequently examine their own thoughts. They ask themselves difficult questions. Am I wrong about this? What bias might be influencing my thinking? How can I improve my understanding? This constant self-evaluation helps them grow intellectually, but it can also make them extremely critical of themselves. Perfectionism becomes a common challenge because when you see every detail clearly, it becomes harder to accept imperfection. Their minds crave complexity. Simple tasks rarely satisfy highly intelligent individuals for long. They are naturally drawn toward complexity, complex ideas, complex systems, complex problems. Their brain enjoys the challenge of figuring things out. This is why many brilliant thinkers become fascinated with subjects that require deep analysis. the human mind, the universe, technology, philosophy. The more complex the problem, the more interesting it becomes. They question everything. Authority alone rarely convinces a highly intelligent mind. Instead of blindly accepting information, they investigate it, they examine the logic, they analyze the evidence, they test the reasoning. This ability to question assumptions is one of the most powerful intellectual tools a person can develop, but it can also create friction in environments where questioning is discouraged. Highly intelligent individuals often feel uncomfortable in rigid systems that discourage critical thinking, intelligence, and emotional depth. Contrary to popular stereotypes, intelligence is not just about logic. Many highly intelligent individuals experience emotions very intensely. They are deeply empathetic. They are highly sensitive to social dynamics. They can read subtle emotional signals others overlook. This emotional awareness allows them to understand people on a deeper level, but it can also make them vulnerable to emotional overload, because when you notice every detail in human behavior, it becomes harder to ignore the complexities of relationships. Why high intelligence can feel like a double-edged sword. Having an extremely powerful mind comes with advantages, but it also comes with challenges: overthinking, isolation, perfectionism, mental fatigue. The same abilities that create brilliance can sometimes create inner struggle. And this is why understanding the psychology of intelligence is so important, because intelligence alone does not guarantee happiness. Balance matters. Self-awareness matters. And learning how to manage a powerful mind is just as important as having one. Final thoughts. The psychology of extremely high IQ individuals reveals something fascinating. Intelligence is not simply about knowing more. It's about thinking differently, seeing patterns others miss, questioning assumptions others accept, and constantly searching for deeper understanding. If some of these traits sound familiar, it doesn't necessarily mean you have a genius-level IQ, but it does suggest something important. Your mind may be wired for deeper thinking. And in a world that often rewards simplicity, the ability to think deeply may be one of the most powerful advantages you can have. Some of the smartest people in the world don't look extraordinary. They don't always dominate conversations. They don't always show off their knowledge. And sometimes they appear quieter than everyone else in the room. But inside their mind, something very different is happening. Their brain is constantly observing, constantly analyzing, constantly questioning everything. Psychologists have discovered that people with extremely high IQs often share a unique psychological profile, a way of thinking that separates them from the majority of society. But here's the surprising part. Many of these traits are not obvious signs of intelligence. In fact, some of them are often misunderstood as strange behavior. So today, we're going to explore the hidden psychology of extremely high IQ individuals. And by the end of this video, you might start seeing intelligence in a completely different way. They notice details that others ignore. Highly intelligent individuals tend to observe the world very differently, where most people see a normal situation. They see layers of information, small details, subtle patterns, hidden meanings. Their mind processes the environment like a constantly scanning radar. They notice tone changes in conversations. They detect inconsistencies in logic. They observe body language that others miss completely. This heightened awareness often makes them exceptional problem solvers, but it can also make everyday life mentally exhausting, because their brain rarely stops processing information. Their mind is always asking questions. One of the strongest psychological traits of high IQ individuals is their refusal to accept things at face value. They don't just absorb information, they dissect it. If someone presents an idea, their brain instantly asks, is this logical? What evidence supports it? What assumptions are being made? Could there be another explanation? This constant questioning is not about being difficult. It's about understanding reality more clearly. Highly intelligent people are driven by truth, not comfort. And that mindset pushes them to explore ideas far deeper than most people ever do. They often feel mentally out of sync with others. For many highly intelligent individuals, social environments can feel strangely disconnected, not because they dislike people, but because their thinking speed and depth often differ from those around them. Conversations sometimes feel repetitive. Surface-level discussions may feel unfulfilling, and they often crave deeper topics that challenge their mind. Philosophy, psychology, science, human behavior. They enjoy conversations that explore ideas rather than just exchange information. This difference in mental rhythm can sometimes create a quiet sense of isolation. They spend a lot of time inside their own head. Highly intelligent individuals tend to have very active internal worlds. They reflect, They analyze, they imagine possibilities, their thoughts move quickly from one idea to another, building complex networks of understanding. But this mental activity doesn't stop when the day ends. Even during moments of silence, their brain continues to process ideas. This is why many highly intelligent people enjoy solitude, not because they dislike others, but because solitude allows their mind to explore freely without interruption. They challenge their own thinking. One of the most fascinating traits of extremely intelligent individuals is intellectual humility. Despite their abilities, they often question themselves more than anyone else. They regularly ask, what if I'm wrong? What evidence contradicts my beliefs? What perspective have I overlooked? This ability to challenge their own thinking protects them from intellectual arrogance. It forces them to continuously refine their ideas, and over time it leads to deeper wisdom, because true intelligence is not about always being right. It's about constantly improving your understanding. They think about the future constantly. Another psychological trait common among high IQ individuals is long-term thinking. Their mind naturally simulates future possibilities. They imagine outcomes. They predict consequences. They evaluate decisions based on long-term impact rather than short-term reward. This ability helps them make strategic choices, but it also creates a challenge, because when you constantly analyze the future, it becomes harder to live purely in the present moment. Their brain is always running simulations, always calculating possibilities. They often feel emotionally intense. High intelligence is frequently associated with emotional depth. Many highly intelligent individuals experience emotions very strongly. They think deeply, they feel deeply, they care deeply. This emotional intensity can create powerful empathy. They can understand complex emotional dynamics in relationships. They can sense subtle emotional shifts in conversations, but it can also make them more sensitive to stress and conflict. Because their mind processes emotional experiences with the same depth as intellectual ones, they are attracted to complex problems. Simple problems rarely excite a highly intelligent mind. What truly stimulates them are challenges that require deep thinking, puzzles, abstract theories, complex systems. Their brain enjoys the process of untangling difficult ideas. It's not just about solving problems, it's about understanding how everything fits together. This is why many highly intelligent individuals thrive in fields that demand deep analysis: technology, science, philosophy, psychology. They are naturally drawn toward complexity. They value independence of thought. Highly intelligent individuals often develop strong independence in their thinking. They are less influenced by social pressure, less concerned with following trends. Instead, they rely on their own analysis. They evaluate information carefully before forming opinions. And once they reach a conclusion, they are confident in defending it with logic. This independence allows them to see perspectives others might overlook, but it can also make them appear unconventional, because they are not afraid to challenge popular beliefs: intelligence and loneliness. One topic that frequently appears in psychological studies of intelligence is loneliness. Not every highly intelligent person experiences it, but many report feeling misunderstood at some point in their lives. The reason is not superiority. The reason is difference. Their thinking patterns, their curiosity, their depth of analysis, all of these create a mental landscape that can be difficult to share with others. But when highly intelligent individuals find people who think similarly, the connection becomes incredibly powerful, because finally their mind has found a place where it feels understood, the hidden power of intelligence. At its core, intelligence is not just about knowledge, it's about perception. It's about seeing the world through a deeper lens, recognizing patterns, questioning assumptions, exploring ideas beyond surface-level understanding. And while this way of thinking can sometimes feel overwhelming, it is also incredibly powerful, because every major innovation in human history began with someone who thought differently, someone who asked deeper questions, someone who refused to accept simple answers. Final reflection. If you recognize some of these traits in yourself, it may simply mean one thing: your mind enjoys deeper thinking, and that curiosity, that constant search for understanding, is one of the most valuable qualities a person can have. Because intelligence is not about knowing everything. It's about never stopping the pursuit of knowledge. There is something even more fascinating about extremely intelligent people that psychologists rarely talk about. It's not just how they think, it's how their mind reacts to the world around them. Because when your brain processes reality at a deeper level, ordinary experiences begin to feel very different. Small conversations can suddenly feel exhausting. Loud environments can feel overwhelming, and superficial interactions may leave them feeling strangely empty. This happens because their brain is constantly searching for meaning. Highly intelligent people rarely enjoy conversations that stay on the surface. They naturally move toward deeper questions. Why do people behave the way they do? What motivates human decisions? What patterns shape society? Their mind is not satisfied with simple explanations. They want to understand the hidden layers behind everything, and that desire for deeper meaning creates one of the most powerful psychological traits extremely intelligent individuals. They become observers of human nature. Instead of just participating in conversations, they watch them, they analyze the tone of voice, they notice contradictions between words and actions, they study the subtle emotional signals people give off without realizing it. Over time, this observation ability becomes almost automatic. And this is why highly intelligent individuals are often incredibly good at reading people. They can sense when someone is being honest. They can detect insecurity hidden behind confidence. They can recognize manipulation long before others notice it. But this awareness also changes how they experience relationships, because once you can clearly see human behavior, it becomes difficult to ignore the patterns. Another surprising psychological trait of very high IQ individuals is their relationship with boredom. For most people, boredom appears when there is nothing to do. But for highly intelligent individuals, boredom happens for a completely different reason. Their brain simply needs stimulation. If an environment doesn't challenge their mind, they quickly lose interest. Repetitive tasks, predictable conversations, routine thinking, all of these can make them feel mentally trapped. Their brain constantly searches for something new to analyze, something new to learn, something new to solve, and this is why highly intelligent individuals often jump between interests throughout their life. One year they may be fascinated with psychology, the next year it could be technology, then philosophy, then neuroscience. Their curiosity is not limited to one area, it spreads across many different fields, because their mind enjoys connecting ideas from different worlds, and sometimes this ability to connect ideas becomes their greatest strength. Many of the most groundbreaking thinkers in history shared this exact trait. They didn't think in straight lines, they thought in networks. They combined ideas from completely different disciplines, and suddenly something new was created. But there is another psychological side to high intelligence that people rarely discuss: doubt. Highly intelligent individuals often question their own abilities more than others do, because they are constantly aware of how much they still don't know. The deeper their knowledge becomes, the more they realize how complex the world truly is. This awareness creates humility, but it can also create self-doubt. They sometimes underestimate their own abilities because they are always comparing their knowledge to the vast amount of information they haven't explored yet. This phenomenon is surprisingly common among highly intelligent thinkers. The more they learn, the more they realize how much there is still left to understand, and this realization keeps their curiosity alive. But perhaps the most powerful psychological trait of extremely intelligent individuals is their relationship with solitude. Many people fear being alone, but highly intelligent individuals often value it deeply, because solitude gives their mind freedom, freedom to think, freedom to imagine, freedom to explore ideas without interruption. Some of the most powerful insights ever discovered in human history were born in moments of deep solitude, moments when a mind had the space to wander beyond everyday distractions. And this is why highly intelligent individuals often protect their alone time, not because they dislike people, but because their mind needs room to breathe, needs room to explore, needs room to create. But here is the most important thing to understand about intelligence. It is not just about how fast someone can think or how much information they can remember. True intelligence is about curiosity. It is about the constant desire to understand the world more deeply. It is about questioning ideas that others accept without thinking. It is about exploring possibilities that others never notice. And when someone develops this way of thinking, their mind becomes one of the most powerful tools they will ever have. Because in a world filled with noise and distraction, the ability to think deeply is becoming increasingly rare. And those who master it often change the world in ways most people never expect. So if you've ever felt like your mind works a little differently, if you often find yourself questioning things others ignore, if your curiosity constantly pulls you toward deeper understanding, then your mind might be operating on a level that many people never explore, and that is not something to hide. It is something to develop, because the future has always belonged to those who think differently.